This is Paved with Good Intentions, or have you forgotten that already? Live life like it's the only one you got. There are no extra lives in this game. Welcome to another episode of Paved with Good Intentions, the show that asks the difficult questions you didn't even think you cared about. I'm that Danielle Kessner, and this podcast is produced sponsor-free, so thank you for supporting independent artists. Today, we're going to be talking about bringing people together. We're going to be discussing what it takes to bring people together. But first, here's a piece of random trivia. Did you know sound is created by energy being emitted in the form of vibration? That's one reason why when you rest your head on an amp, you can really feel the music. Also because that music is awesome. A sound wave is made up of areas of high and low pressure that are vibrating outward from the source of the sound. And that source determines the amplitude and the frequency of that sound wave, which gives us the distinct pitch and the volume of that sound. And because of this, sound can be used for many forms, for many purposes, basically. Like you can do ultrasound mapping, you can do ultrasonic welding, sonar, things like that. Or you can just listen to lots and lots of music, which is what I think you should be doing. But either way, your choice. And now on to our episode, Come Together. Yes, I named the episode after an Aerosmith cover of a Beatles song. Don't know why, I'm not a big fan of either one of those. But since we're talking about music, it's one of those things I can talk about a lot. I went to a concert a couple weeks ago. I went to see Shinedown and Breaking Benjamin on Halloween night. Those are two bands that I love and two bands I haven't seen before, so this was all around just a fantastic show. You can watch my video about being there the night at the concert, so do check that out. But one of the things I always notice when I go to a concert is just how much the people can come together at a concert. And you think about it, what is a concert? A concert is a band who, this is what they do for a living. They go out on tour, they play their music for fans, and they hope that the reaction the fans give is, something, that they enjoy. They hope that the fans walk away from it and they enjoyed the show. That's what a concert is. It's for the fans. And actually, the lead singer of Shinedown really stressed that point frequently during the concert. He says, this isn't about us. This is something we do all the time. This is about you guys enjoying yourselves and creating a positive memory, which is it's an absolutely cool concept to really wrap your head around. It's like you don't go to a concert necessarily to, critique the band and say, are they doing a good job? It's like a job performance review. That's not what a concert is. The concert is not, it is about the band. Obviously, you're going to see the band, but it's also about the memory you create. It's about what you feel when you listen to that music. When you walk away from that, you say, man, that was an amazing show. It's something I'm going to remember. You're in control of that. The band is really just kind of inconsequential to your memory, which is a really cool idea because, it's a different way of looking at a concert. A concert is, when you think about it, it's like, well, it's me going to see a band I like. It's going to see them perform live music. I can listen to their music all day long. I can listen to Shinedown, from morning to night, all day. And, I can get kind of that same effect if I go to the show. I can say, well, I went to the show and I heard the music that I listened to all day long. But the concert itself is something more. It's more about not just the music, but your experience of the music is different now. The show itself might have some cool stuff like pyrotechnics. I still can't hear out of this ear because they were setting off fireworks indoors, which is awesome. But it's the experience you get from the music that way. It's different than if I were just sitting at my computer listening to music. It's different. And part of why it's different is not just the fact that they're performing it live and there's cool stuff going on, all that. It's the fact that when you're at a concert, you're doing something that is somewhat unique. You're doing something that is, outside of the norm. It's, I'm not going to say it's unique in the sense it doesn't happen very often, but it's something that you're not necessarily doing as a normal part of your daily routine. It's something that you're doing that's different, that's special. And you're doing it in a setting where you're experiencing that with hundreds or thousands of other people who are doing that exact same thing. They're there for that exact same purpose. Music concerts, what they really are is you break down the word of what a concert is. It's a coming together. It's bringing people together. That's what a concert is. It's a band playing, but the band playing is kind of the catalyst of this gathering, of this, bringing together all these different people. And all it is music. And you look at that and you think about it in that way, and it's actually kind of mind-blowing that something so simple as just people doing their jobs can bring people together. The same thing happens with sporting events. You get thousands of people who go to a sporting event for the same purpose, is to enjoy this experience together. You can watch a football game on television, or you can go to the game and your experience of it's going to be entirely different. You're going to create a new memory. But it's different because, let's say, you're watching your team, guy throws a pass, scores a touchdown, everybody in the stadium just erupts. You're creating that memory of that just eruption of emotion, that excitement. You're creating that memory. Same thing at a concert. When somebody is, like saying, everybody jump up in the air, everybody throw your hands up, everybody turn on your cell phone flashlights. That was something they did. That was kind of funny. But it's something that everybody does together. And you can almost look at it as, this, it's almost scary in some way because, who are these people? They're not religious leaders, they're not politicians. They really have no sway over your life except that they created something that you can appreciate in, a certain, at a certain level. You listen to that music, it evokes emotion, it makes you feel good, and but that's all that they did. They did it. It's no different than an author writing a book or an artist painting a picture. It can evoke emotion. That's what art does. And they created this so that it can evoke your emotions. But then they have this power over it as saying, "Hey, we're playing this music. You're going to participate in our playing of this music in this moment." So it's almost like they become these like figureheads of your emotions. It's like, let's bring the noise up, everybody jump up and cheer, or keep bring it low and then rise it back up. They have this power to control people, and in the wrong hands that's probably a bad thing. But when you're watching it in the positive light of what a concert is, you see that and it's just mind-blowing. It's awesome. It's fantastic that they can do that they can take their craft and bring people together with their craft alone, with just something as simple as a song. All music is sound. That's all it is. It's sound that they put together in a certain formation that when you hear it all together, it creates a song and it creates a melody and all that. But it's just sound. That's all music is. And then them up on stage, all they're doing is just creating that sound. But it can evoke emotion, and it can evoke this sense of unity when you're with all these other people who are fans of the music. I go to a lot of metal shows because I listen to metal, and there's something to be said about a mosh pit because some people, they look at that and say, oh hell no. In fact, I don't go into mosh pits after a very bad incident a few years ago. But you look at that, and what it is it's people who are taking the emotion from the band, they're taking the emotions that they're feeling from this music, and they're channeling it into this, this collective ball. They don't know each other necessarily. They don't hate each other. They don't like each other, but they're celebrating this music in their own unique way. It's this, it's common ground. It's people from different backgrounds, you know, different ages, different races, different genders, everything about people is different. And a concert can bring all these people together for one common cause. And it's awesome to see that diversity because then it means that there's something that's unifying. There's something that's almost archetypal about these things that draw people together. You can talk about religion. You could say religion has something that brings people together. Sporting events, music, concert, movies to an extent. People coming, going to a movie theater because they all have this common interest. And actually, it's funny when you, like, if you go to see like a comedy, how you might be laughing at things because everybody else is laughing at it. It's kind of this like sharing of emotions because everybody's together. They're there for the same reason. They're all there to see a comedy. They're all there to laugh. And you find yourself laughing and you're like, yeah, that's awesome. But then you watch the movie later and you realize that wasn't as funny as I thought it was. Why was I laughing so hard in the theater? It's because when you're together and you have these common grounds, it's this basically communion of people. It's a concert of people. Again, that's why it's called a concert. It's bringing people together. And it's a really fantastic thing to see because there's so much bad stuff going on in the world right now. There's so much. You just like turn on the news and it's just one bad thing after another. And that's because bad news sells. But one of the things that's getting me the most, and I'm not going to turn this into a rant, but one of the things that's really bringing me down the most lately is the fact that no matter what, it always seems to come down to a disagreement between somebody who believes one thing and somebody who believes another thing. I mean, that's what the foundation of war has been since the beginning of time. It's that your tribe believes one thing, my tribe believes another. And that hasn't changed at all. The only difference is now instead of actually killing each other, which is still going on, but maybe to a much lesser extent. Instead of the actual violence, it's just this ideological violence that's being waged between people. It's I believe in this thing, which means the opposite of it is absolute garbage. It's disgusting. But then those people are like, well, we believe in this thing. This is what's important to us, and what you believe is intolerant garbage. Whatever. And there's so much of that right now. And you would think that with as much anger and as much animosity as there is, that there's nothing that can actually unite these people. I just reading an article about how during one of the Republican debates, they asked, okay, name a Democrat who you do respect or you admire. Name somebody who on the other side of the fence that you actually admire. And that seems like a simple question for a politician, because a politician doesn't hate. A politician disagrees, but a politician does not hate. None of them actually answered that question. They all basically said, no, none of them. They don't agree or they don't like any of them. They don't respect any of them, which is a terrible answer, because what that's telling you is that these people are not willing to look at somebody else's point of view. They're not willing to bend their, position at all, which you could say is a good sign of, steadfastness, of staying true to your beliefs, or it's a sign of somebody who is so childish that they can't see another point of view at all, which is not somebody you want in political office, but we've got plenty of them as it is. Instead of letting this go into a rant, what I'm going to do is actually take it back to the point here. So why do I bring that up? There are disagreements that people have that are just like at their core, they cannot agree with somebody on this point, or on, they see a certain point of view and say, there's no way in hell I could ever actually support that. And with these people who hate each other, there are things that can still unify them. There are still these events, these concerts, not necessarily music. I'm saying, concert in the term of just a coming together. There are things that people can do to come together where those differences mean squat. Where your political position, your religion, any of that stuff means squat, unless it is like a religious gathering. But sporting event is a great example of that, because you have 70,000 people in a stadium. Maybe 60-70% of them are for the home team. Then you got 30% who are there, for the opposite team, or just there because somebody had an extra ticket. But you get all those people together, and they might be ragging on the people who are wearing a different jersey. A lot of times it's in good fun. There's times where it's not, but a lot of times it's in good fun. But everybody else who's there, everyone who's there for the home team, it doesn't matter who they are in life, because in that moment, they are a spectator of an event. And as that spectator of that event, what matters to them is how that event plays out, how that memory is created. They're there to cheer on when their team scores a touchdown. They're there to, throw their arms up whenever the ref throws a flag or something. It's a different kind of community. Whereas you might be standing next to somebody who is the complete opposite religion, the complete opposite political position, who might actually hate you as a person, but because you're there supporting the team in those moments, that hate doesn't matter. It doesn't. because all you care about is what's going on in that moment, in the music, in the football game, in the movie. That's all you care about. You don't care about what other people are going through in their lives. And so the question is, and obviously I can't answer this question, how do we get to that point in real life? Because going to a concert or going to a football game or something, that isn't real life. Like I said, it's a unique experience. It's something that is happening outside of the norm. But how do we get there in real life where you basically say, okay, I disagree with everything about you. I might even say I hate you. But you are a Broncos fan. So I gotta like you for that fact. There has to be something unifying about all of us. And at the end of the day, we're all really the same. We're all human beings. We're all, trying to live our lives the best way we can. We're all trying to find happiness in our own way. And because we're all the same, there is something that will unify us, even if it seems like there's absolutely nothing that we can agree on. There will be something that unifies us. If you had asked those Republicans, if, a Democrat were eating barbecue and it's at your favorite barbecue joint, would you be able to sit with them and have like a nice conversation and talk about the barbecue? Would you be able to, just talk about some common interest that you have? They probably would still say no, but there's a chance that they could say, well, yeah, because we're talking about something. It's not political. It's entirely about a common ground that we have. It's something as simple as food. If that can happen, why can't we do that on a larger scale? Why can't we take those little moments where we do agree on something, where we, completely ignore our differences, and I mean ignore our conflicts, maybe is the better word, where we ignore those because we do have something that we have in common. There's something that we both appreciate. Why can't we translate that into something greater? Why can't that be something that we all can strive for? Why can't we see the good in other people every day? It's hard. I know it's hard because ultimately the differences are shoved in our faces a lot more than the similarities. It's a lot easier for someone to say, well, gay marriage is evil and wrong and something like that without seeing, well, but they, do so much charity work. They, raise families, they love they love their kids, they basically live the exact same lives. They go to church. There were people who live the exact same lives, but there's one thing that might differentiate them that just creates this rift. Why can't we see past that rift? I'm friends with Raider fans. Come on. Because in the end, we're all the same. In the end, we really are the same. And sometimes it takes an event where the differences we have don't matter for us to actually see that and for that to actually work. I can go to a metal show and there's people there that I would never associate with outside of that show. But in that show, we're all there for the same reason. We're all best friends. We're all watching the concert. We're all together. We can do that as human race. I'm an idealist. I'm not going to lie. We can all do that as a human race if we can swallow our pride every once in a while and look at the positives instead of always focusing on the negatives. We can come together. So that's all there is to it. So I apologize for the videos not coming as fast as, I'd like them to. I really do want to keep up with this. Unfortunately, life is getting in the way in a lot of ways. I'm actually writing a novel this month for National Write a Novel Month, so I'll tell you how that goes. It's going pretty well so far. But I will try to keep up and, keep some more videos coming. But for the time being, thank you for listening. You can check out more Paved with Good Intentions right here on YouTube or on iTunes and Stitcher. You can also check out my other videos and anything I've ever favorited. And please be sure to check out my other podcast, Translation, which is found at the link below, as well as on iTunes and Stitcher. And please visit me on Twitter at Danny Kessner, or you can follow me on Facebook. If you have any questions you'd like me to ponder on the show, send me an email at translationpodcast@gmail.com. I do want to hear from you. Have your people call my people. And once again, this podcast is produced sponsor-free, so thank you for supporting independent artists. And I'll see you on the other side.